Welcome to the Equinium podcast, hosted by Equinium Marketing and Public Relations Executive Holly Johnson. Join Holly as she connects with some of the best and brightest voices in the equestrian industry, from brand leaders and athletes to media experts and innovators, for engaging conversations that inspire, inform, and elevate your equestrian IQ. Get ready for the Equinium podcast, brought to you by Equinium Marketing and heard exclusively on the Equus Radio Network.
We're here with Olympia Nona Garson and the founder of the Ridge at Wellington Groves and the Ridge at Riverview in New Jersey. We are going to do a quick podcast about some exciting stuff she has going on for her shows this year and coming up in 2027. So hi Nona, how are you?
I'm great, Holly. How are you doing today?
Amazing. I love talking about horse show stuff, so this is perfect. So tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing in New Jersey. I know we have 3 shows this month and more coming up throughout the fall.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're already getting to the last portion of our New Jersey schedule. It's been a great summer. The weather's been great up there. We've had beautiful weather and great horse shows so far. This month we have 3 horse shows coming up. We have our B-rated show coming up on August 16th, and in addition to that, we have an outreach division, and we have our first leg of our Triple Crown series for our Hunter Derbies, which is going to be really exciting.
Now, what inspired the Triple Crown? I know the first one is themed to Kentucky Derby, so that makes sense.
Yeah, the second one is for breast cancer awareness, and the third one is going to be a Halloween, which
I love. I love a theme.
Yeah, theme, and it just is a fun way. If people feel like it, they can dress for the event in whatever seasonal or whatever costumes they want. But also, it gives it a fun twist. Or they can always classic hunter attire is always welcome as well.
Of course. And so tell me a little bit about that. So you show in all 3, you show in one?
Well, we're going to give there's actually bonus money if you win all 3 classes. So that's the Triple Crown theory of it. Perfect. It's the stars on the.
I love it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and I feel that there's always a lot of excitement when we can make some things for people to work for. The Triple Crown series is really for the 2-foot and above Hunter Derbies. Okay. But in addition to that, we're going to have great awards and coolers and all sorts of big trophies and stuff, even starting with ground rails. So we have a ground rail derby, we have a cross rail derby, we have an 18-inch derby, and then we have a 2-foot, a 2-6, and 3-foot derby.
That's
at
amazing.
All 3 of these events.
So that anyone who really wanted to do it could do it, even like lead line kids or whatever. Super fun. And why don't we talk a little about a more recent show coming up, which I think is the Thoroughbred show? Yeah,
we have the Thoroughbred show coming up on August 23rd. It's the ECTB Thoroughbred show. And this is our first time working with the Thoroughbred Association. And we're excited to do it. George and I both grew up riding thoroughbreds, and we're real believers in thoroughbreds. In fact, I just got back from Saratoga. We had a weekend in Saratoga.
Oh yeah, you said that.
To watch the Whitney this weekend.
Oh, how was that? Amazing! I'm
amazing.
Sure. Yeah.
$1 million race, best thoroughbreds in the world. Fantastic. But anyway,
I love it.
But this is something a little different. This is for thoroughbreds in their second career in their lifetime, mostly, or unraced thoroughbreds, of course, are welcome too. But we mostly thoroughbreds have had some kind of career on the track before they become show horses.
Right, exactly. And I know you gave me a lesson on my thoroughbred, who was a dressage horse, but you gave me a lesson or 2, I think, on him just for fun, and that was awesome. So
thoroughbreds are amazing. Like I said, I was just at Saratoga and sold out crowd, and those thoroughbreds are amazing because there are thousands of people screaming at the top of their lungs,
and they're just like so locked in on their work.
And they're so locked in on their work.
It's amazing.
They run the race, and then when they're done, they walk them back past the grandstand, barely pulling on the rope.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing how like sometimes there's part of me, and obviously I've had great success with warm blood horses all as well, but. We always laugh. I wonder what happened if you got 12 warm bloods out here. They would get to the grandstand and stop and turn.
I know, and it's a hot button now, I think, especially in the jumpers and hunters, where it used to all be thoroughbreds.
Yeah.
Like 20, 30 years ago, and now it's all warm bloods. I mean, do you have any thoughts on why that is, or?
Well,
Or what do you like best about thoroughbreds?
There's a lot of theories out there why that went that way. Part of it is that they started breeding more thoroughbreds to fill the race guards that had to be go shorter distances. So there's a lot more sprinting horses out there.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
And then sprinters are not as good. We want horses that are equally good at jumping and running would be distance horses.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah.
And the elite group of horses that are really distance horses are kind of out of the price range for a horse to buy a horse who you never see jump.
Makes sense.
And,
or they might come back injured or something like that.
I mean, there's always that, but it's though the breeding world of thoroughbred has changed in the United States.
Yeah.
But they're putting a lot of prize money into thoroughbreds.
Sure.
For example, the New York Racing Commission, we were just there, has a really good program.
Okay.
The National Racing Association are putting prize money. There's big championships coming up for them everywhere. And in New Jersey, where I live in the summer, it's there's a lot of nice thoroughbreds out there, and it always makes me feel good to see them because that's how I grew up riding thoroughbreds.
Yeah, well, tell me about some of your thoroughbreds. I know we talked about All Star, the Grand Prix one.
Yeah, All Star was a fabulous horse that he was by Rays and Alydar out of a. He was both a grandson of Secretariat and a grandson of Alydar.
Very cool.
I bought him as a weanling at Timonium Sales in Maryland.
Oh, wow. So you had him a long time.
Yeah, I had him.
Wow.
And he was such a confident, beautiful young horse. I bought him, and he became an amazing horse. I showed him. He was my speed horse indoors when I showed at Harrisburg, Washington in the Garden. He was placed in big international classes for me. George showed him more than I did because I had quite a few horses at that point. And
was that kind of at the peak of or like towards the peak of it?
Yeah, I was showing a lot of horses, and I loved it. And All-Star was mine, but I gave him to George to show, and he was successfully placed in many Grand Prix, and he was just a good, hard-knocking horse. But then he was at the same time, George's dad, who was, older, would come and want to go trail riding.
No way.
And who could we put him on but All-Star? Because All-Star could go trot down the trails in Wellington by himself. Because George's dad loved to do that. And we didn't have to worry about him, And
I wonder where that kind of flipped when the thoroughbreds became like hotter. I mean, I know they're hot,
well,
but
they're brave horses.
Yeah, they're brave, exactly.
I mean, hot and brave are sometimes are different.
Interesting,
He was such a good horse, and then later in his life, that horse went on to do the equitation finals. He did the Calvin Klein Classic at the Hampton Classic 5 or 6 times.
And we'll post a picture of All Star on our Instagram. It's at Ridge Show Jumping if you guys want to go look at it, or at the Ridge at Wellington Groves and the Ridge at Riverview on Facebook. So.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal horse. He did the Medal and McClay finals. He did the Talent Search finals.
With you guys, or you he moved on?
I would lease him out. I had people every year. They would start
Cool.
asking for him, and they'd want to know what All Star was doing.
That's
at
so
the
cool.
end, he went. I think he did the medal finals with like a 12-year-old.
That's amazing. I mean,
he could jump the open water. He could do everything.
Wow.
He was a phenomenal horse.
That's so cool.
I had him his whole life. I mean,
yeah.
I never really let him go any. I mean, I would lease him out to people and.
Gotcha. But he was always still yours.
He was always coming home.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, that's amazing. So, and let's talk a little bit about Florida. I mean, I know it's crazy to think that we're already coming to the end of the summer and the fall will be here and gone before we know it. But we have some new sponsors coming on, as well as, Root and Riddle and Marsh and McLennan Agency, who have been multiple years with us. But talk about maybe some of the exciting new classes. Like I know pony jumpers are huge right now.
Yeah, we're talking about doing some fun classes, and we're entertaining the idea of doing a few night classes for our junior amateur riders and our pony riders to give them the chance to get under the lights. We have a beautiful nighttime venue here, and we're talking about having some really fun parties with some good food and some really good classes for junior amateur riders. And maybe even a little musical entertainment. Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I still want to see dressage here, some freestyles, so I have to make that happen with you guys, because the ring looks beautiful. It's a little big and empty without jumps in it, but it still looks, because we're in Florida right now, just for anyone who's
I'm visiting
curious.
Florida for a couple of days. I'm going back to New Jersey.
Yeah, we're here in Wellington / Loxahatchee, but Nona's going back to New Jersey for her shows after, and also going to Costa Rica.
Yeah, I'm doing a really big clinic in Costa Rica, not this week coming, but the week after. It's my second time going to teach at this venue, and they're very excited. What a good group they are too, by the way.
Do you know what they're called? Not to put you on the spot for a name, which I know is hard. We can mention them on Instagram. Check our Instagram.
I do know it, but I don't know it right
don't
this
worry
second.
About it.
But it's a beautiful, beautiful facility, and they're very excited because I think there's a very good chance they're going to be hosting the next Central American Games.
Very cool. Okay, awesome.
And actually, the Federation, the Costa Rican Federation, is helping support the teaching of the Costa Rican riders, which is an amazing step.
And so what are you training over there at your clinics? Are you doing, what do you focus on with them specifically?
Well, it's a really enthusiastic group. I taught, I think, 30 riders last time I was there.
Okay.
The clinics were huge. I was so busy, I was teaching from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. So I saw the mountains in the background. I saw my hotel room. I saw the beautiful facility, and I saw the restaurants.
Right, yeah.
Where I had dinner.
Not a lot of time.
Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh, did you like Costa Rica?" I was like, "I loved it," but I really only saw a 10-mile. I saw the 10-mile car trip.
Well, most of it was probably the ring, right?
Yeah, mostly I saw the ring.
Do you have photos from that?
I have a couple.
Okay, you have to send them to me.
Yeah, I have a couple.
They need to be on the website. Everything else. So
yeah, I'll give them to you.
Yeah,
but
we should.
Super nice people. So there's a couple of super programs there. Actually, America could learn from it in some ways. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's interesting how sometimes a smaller group's a better organized group in a way.
It's amazing how America has no really structure to their. I'm sure we do a whole podcast on that as well. But
listen. I'm an American girl and I love America, but. There's something to be said for a small program that's a little more controlled. Because for me, the idea that the Federation is supporting, the training of their riders is phenomenal.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing.
I don't, for us, it's so spread out and this and that. But we have a whole, right there, there's a whole enthusiastic group jumping, 0.80 to meter 40
right
that we're working with, and anyway, it's a lot of fun. I love the people there, and I love the group that's putting it together too.
No, fantastic. And you are also doing other clinics, I know.
Yeah, I have a clinic coming up. I have my own clinic coming up at the Riverview, and that's the next to last weekend in October.
Okay,
right before I start thinking of heading here. I also am doing a clinic in Dallas, Texas, the first weekend of December.
Okay.
And I have a few openings, so if anybody, I still have a few openings.
And do you take just any barn, or how does that work? Or how do they apply, I guess?
Well, they apply. If they go to info at Ridge Show Jumping, they could drop me a note, and we can see if it's something that works for everybody.
And all that contact info is on the website ridgeshowjumping.com, just for anyone else that's interested in hosting a Nona Garson clinic at their barn.
I love teaching clinics. To me, it's like gathering disciples.
It's a talent, though. Not everyone can do it. You know what I mean? Teaching.
Yeah.
I've seen that, unfortunately, a lot. But
I think I'm a communicator, so I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think both in Dallas and both in Costa Rica, I do a 3-day clinic.
Okay.
So I do the first day will be a real concentration on flat work and little exercises, and we kind of build as the weekend goes on. And really, a 2 or 3 day clinic is so much more beneficial than a 1 day clinic because the riders have time to actually absorb the system.
Okay.
And listen, everybody has their own system. So every time you teach somebody something, they're going to bring it to them, to, how they use it.
Right.
But by exposing to them for multiple days, it really gives them a taste and a flavor of where they can go with it.
Okay. And do they bring their own horses, or how does that work?
They bring their own horses. I mean, some of these,
you probably don't even know.
Yeah, at my farm, sometimes I have a couple of horses that could be leased out for the clinic, or I could help find them. But my job is to give the best possible clinic. I'm not in the job of supplying horses really, but I can help if somebody wants to come. They're coming from far away. I might be able to help expedite that. But
Gotcha. Yeah. Especially if, the closer to New Jersey or Florida you are, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes more sense. So, but speaking about that and riding different horses, this year we're going to have our second annual college preparatory showcase here at the Ridge at Wellington Groves, which is off E Road and Okeechobee Boulevard in Loxahatchee. They have a giant oversized ring, and last year was a super success with, the first year we had, I don't even know how many colleges you had here. I have to look up the exact numbers, but we had a huge audience at a minimum and a bunch of riders and a ton of horses, and some of them got sold. So tell us about this year.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. I think it's a great program. I've been involved in it in many different ways over many years.
Yeah.
I've judged it myself multiple times when it used to be at WEF.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I've taught the clinic when it was at Jim Brandon Equestrian Center.
Right, I remember that.
I think it's a great thing, and I think in our sport, we've got to keep introducing people to the sport. I think that's an important piece sometimes we're not giving enough attention to.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think, out of this group of riders, if we can kind of give them a great experience, we're bringing people into our world. And, I think as a group, we've got to keep introducing new people, because other sports yell louder. Our
definitely.
sport is a quiet sport. And it's a long term sport. It's a sport that kids and adults can enjoy their whole life.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
There's the beauty of there's what's so special about it. It's you have the relationship with the horse that and the animal that you don't always get in another sport. And I think bringing people here and letting them see it and having the exposure is really important. And I think bringing them to Loxahatchee Groves and being able to go to Wellington. A really fun thing we did during the showcase was I brought a group of riders. I met them over at WEF, and we walked the jumper course.
The night class, the
Grand
Saturday
Prix,
Night Lights.
Yeah, the Saturday night class, which was a phenomenal class. It was great. We walked the course, but it gave them a whole outlook of how to think about how it works. And I've ridden a lot around that ring a lot myself. Not lately, but it doesn't mean
You're
I
still
don't
in the
remember
upper
how.
echelons,
Yeah.
so for sure.
But it was really fun. It was great exposure for that group of kids, and
you're a course designer, so
Yeah.
that's a huge piece of the puzzle for them, I'm sure, to learn.
Yeah, and the strategy of how a course designer thinks, how a rider thinks.
Absolutely.
I'm blessed that I can bring all of that to the table.
Absolutely, yeah. So tell me about the CPS as far as the structure, in case people don't know.
Yeah, the CPS will be a 2.5-day event. It'll start on a Friday, and on Friday there'll be we're going to this year we're going to have some more unmounted clinics as well.
Okay.
We're planning on doing, and we will have a couple of mounted clinics in the afternoon. The unfortunate, and they get to come. They actually also get to come and experience the Ridge Grand Prix. So while they're signing up and getting organized and meeting and greeting, they'll get to see some of the best riders in the world competing in our Ridge in the Ridge at Wellington Grand Prix that'll be going on simultaneous.
And having a front row seat to Kent Farrington and all these people, Ben Maher, everyone that comes and shows with us.
Daniel Blumen,
just all the Blumens, and Steven,
number 6 in the world.
And Steven's
Yeah.
rocketing up. I think he's in the 30s now.
Yeah. I just saw the post about Daniel.
Yeah, I know. Daniel's been showing with you for how long? I have videos of him
the
the
Blumens are real believers in our system. And that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, sure.
But the CPS is going to be a great event. We're going to host that. We'll have a dinner for the riders. We'll have the clinics. We'll have 2 days of competition. We're also going to have some unmounted clinics going on.
Can anyone do the unmounted, or is it just riders?
There'll be some space for other people too. I think. I think for the people that have made the effort to come from all over the country, we need to allow them to fill their spots first.
No, of course, yeah.
And then there would but I think there could be room for other people as well.
Yeah, mine as well.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice. And maybe
for the
you could get it
unmounted
full
clinics
enough.
for sure, there'll be room. And
that's the next thing I want to talk about is horses. Because I know that's always, we are trying to get, what is it, like 2.6 roughly?
Yeah,
horses?
the highest that they jump is 2.6.
Okay.
It's very much like intercollegiate showing.
Right.
So it's at a lower level than riders maybe can ride, but the interesting thing about it is a rider has to be a very kind of easygoing, open-minded kind of rider, because you instantly have to meld with the horse that you draw. You don't get to choose your horse. Your horse is drawn for you.
Which I think is amazing. We just talked about US not having like some kind of structure, but I think that is really important because, it's not common in the show world. And what do they get? Like 2 jumps and then they have to show?
Yeah, they're like maybe up to 4 jumps, but it's really, a rider has to learn how to be flexible and roll with the punches and, kind of adjust,
a little scrappy. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you get the horse you want and sometimes you get the horse that, isn't your style. But, I think one of my successes as a rider is I won many, many classes on many, many horses. I was always I was like a chameleon. I could ride a hot horse or I could ride a quiet horse.
And we're actually going to do our second podcast, which will come out after this one, about her horses. So stay tuned for that one on Equus Television. But anyway, yeah, I think that is super important to learn.
But it's such a learning device. I as a child learned that because I was a catch rider when I was growing up. But, now not the world's a different place and not everyone's exposed to, they're more worried that children might die. I'm kidding.
Which is fair. I guess they didn't care about that in the 80s or whatever it was.
We always joke that life was cheap because we didn't wear helmets and we we
definitely
wore
changed
helmets
a lot
when we went to the horse show, but you knew what I mean.
But weren't they the velvet ones that were like kind of not?
Well, they were hard, but you had to
yeah.
keep your helmet nice so it still looked good when you went to the horse show. Otherwise, you only had one, so it wasn't
like look at the Western people. They like look down on helmets. Like
it was funny.
So,
but listen, we want everyone to be safe. We've learned a lot more about head injuries than we knew then.
No, there's no doubt about that.
Back then, if you were conscious, you were okay. Right?
There you go. Yeah. What does George Morris used to say? Like get hospital or back on or whatever he used to say. I can't remember what he used to say.
Like
I don't know. But the other thing, so if you have a horse in the Loxahatchee, Wellington area or, want to bring it down, they are going to be looking for, you guys are going to be taking applications on horses,
absolutely.
right?
And we sold several horses out of the event last year.
Yes, because we do market the horses. We do social media. We do press releases. We do videos. So we can absolutely market your horse if it's up in the market to be sold. And I think I think 30 or 60% of the horses you did got sold. So.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a great event. The horses, and we want to make the horses the stars too. One thing I think in our sport, that's a thing that we've sometimes in our press we've missed what a star all the horses are.
Yeah.
I think if I was redesigning show jumping, I would put a lot more. I would put a lot more into how amazing the horses are.
No, there's no doubt, especially horses that can let a bunch of different riders get on.
Yeah.
And
it's so interesting to watch the horses, how they adjust and the horses adjust to the riders. The riders adjust to the horse, but the horses adjust to the rider. But it's a great place to sell your 3-foot horse, and sometimes the ones that are just good soldiers.
Yeah, sure.
And they'll shine, and maybe they're not quite the winner at the biggest event, but they're going to be good caretakers. We definitely have a market for those, and we had many horses being tried here. It was really, and I think it's only going to grow. I think
so too, because we've already been getting a lot of people asking about it, and it's we haven't. I think last year at this time we hadn't even announced it, so it's interesting.
Yeah, we're excited about it, and it's a program I believe in, and I think it's something that we need in our sport, and I think it's something that we can get excited about. And
thank you for joining us. Please share this program and contact us anytime with requests or comments at holly@equinium.com. And join us again for another episode of the Equinium podcast, right here on the Equus Radio Network.
I think it's a break-in place. It's a place for somebody to experience this part of the world, and we're looking to help riders to get to where they need to go. That's the thing that, now that George and I are old, that's something that we're looking to do, is to, help people progress.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, any information on the CPS, you can go to our website, ridgeshowjumping.com. We'll have a landing page there for applicants. They will, I think, enter through HorseSpot, but the link will be at our website.
Yeah, so. And there will be, and that will be a limited entry, unfortunately.
Yes, I know. I think, I was talking to Caitlin, so this may or may not be final. Okay. But they said November 1st they were trying to do the cutoff. I don't know if that's final, so take that with an asterisk, anyone listening.
Yeah, because we have to make sure the horses, we have plenty of horses, right. And we've got to make sure, and there's always the human factor in this, when you put a bunch of people and a bunch of horses together and, over a period of time, inevitably some horse loses a shoe.
Sure, of course.
Something happens. So, we're trying to do our best to make the best event possible. But, there is sometimes a little bit of variation. But anybody who's interested in it, you want to get your entries in early.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a quality event. We're going to have some international people, conducting clinics and doing things. You're going to have exposure to things you haven't even dreamed of yet.
Exactly.
Or never dreamed that you would have the ability to do.
And on such an easygoing, chill level. I think that's really cool. So it's the Ridge is so great for that and obviously the Ridge is open during the show days, which are Wednesday, Fridays, and sometimes Saturdays and Sundays for our schooling shows. But spectators are welcome. And we also, for both the CPS and all of Nona's events from New Jersey to Florida, lots of sponsorship opportunities are available. And for the CPS, schools also need to sign up. So that's going to be a separate link on the website. But we had, I don't remember how many schools, at least 30, 40 plus. We're not 100% on that. We can get numbers, but we had a lot of participation last year. So, and sponsors for that. We had a saddle pad sponsor, and we had number sponsor.
We had banner sponsors, mm-hmm. and we do need your help. I would love to tell you that I was making millions of dollars doing this, but we're not. So, but we believe in this, and we believe that, there's more to the world than mercenary things, So we think this is a good thing. George and I are at that point in life that we want to give back to the sport that we love.
Amazing.
But we do need help from our friends.
Yeah, and it benefits everybody, obviously, to be here and to be exposed. It helps with all businesses. We can put jumps in the ring. We have a bunch of custom digital marketing packages. So definitely reach out to us if you have any interest in sponsorship, across the board, from hunters to jumpers, equitation, charity shows, costume classes, ground pole derbies, lead line, Grand Prix, meter 40, meter 30. Our meter 30 was super well attended this year.
And the meter 40.
Absolutely, but they both were. The Rising Star Classic and our Ridge Grand Prix, which is meter 40 plus. But yeah, great times. And as always, nice talking to you, Nona. We're going to close out now. And again, ridgeshowjumping.com if you have any more questions or want to apply for the CPS, sponsorship, or anything in between.
Thank you for joining us. Please share this program and contact us anytime with requests or comments at holly@equinium.com. And join us again for another episode of the Equinium podcast, right here on the Equus Radio Network.